There's a new industry in town, it's called the boycott industry, and we're seeing that whether it's TV shows or films, there are trends of people calling for some film or the other to be cancelled. This is the new cancel culture, maybe not so new, but something which has become very, very strong now. Today, Arup and I are going to talk about whether it should be the merit of the film or it should be the fact that you don't agree with an actor's ideology or thoughts or what he has done, his actions or her actions, which makes you not want to see a film and also influence others not to see it. Welcome to Beyond Myopia and Solipsism. It's been about 5 to 6 days since you've had Aamir's Laal Singh Chaddha being released and Akshay's Raksha Bandhan, and both of them apparently unmitigated disasters. Both of them have made less than 50 crores, which, considering the top billing that these two have, is a very big deal. There is a division about whether the films were really bad or whether the boycott or the cancel culture actually did a lot of damage.
See, I look at it slightly differently. I believe India is a land of stories, but the story writing has stopped, or the Hindi film industry does not access stories any longer. So where are the original scripts? Where are the original stories? Why are we so fixated on remakes? And whether the remakes are from Hollywood or from any other place, it could be a Spanish film, it could be a Korean movie, and those things are already happening. Why can't we come up with original stories? So that is point number one. Second is, I haven't seen Laal Singh Chaddha, and I'll be honest about it. I do want to see it, even if it is a failure, because I like Aamir Khan. I think among all the three Khans, he is the most intelligent. He is the most,
the one who takes all the risks.
Yeah, he's a high risk taker, and he is not satisfied with doing an average job. Salman, in my mind's eye, is more or less done and dusted because he does the same thing over and over again. How many dabangs can you see? And it's the same style of his. So, people are tired and they need a different kick.
Let's concentrate on Aamir. Two things. The criticism is that he's a 57-year-old who's making a film where he plays a 20-year-old, which is not done because age tells. Second is a remake of a 28 to 30-year-old film, even if it's a topic that supposedly resonates. On the positive side, let's talk on the cancel culture, and this is where there's a bit of a dichotomy. You have the same man who made Sarfarosh, who made Dangal, who made Mangal Pandey, which were patriotic films, and now he's being made to pay the price. Let's leave the merits of the film because of what he said 6 to 7 years ago.
See, there is a political background to Aamir Khan, and he's paying the price for that, let's be honest. And that happened in 2006 when his movie Fana was about to be released, and he sat in at the boat club or somewhere in Delhi near Janpat on a agitation which was on Narmada Bachao Andolan with Medha Patkar. Now, who was the Chief Minister of Gujarat then? None other than Mr. Narendra Modi, who took very serious cognizance and was very, to use a looser term, very pissed off with Aamir for doing this. And they also said that this is a legacy of Lagan. Not Lagan, that the other movie, Rang De Basanti. So they said that this is a legacy of Rang De Basanti, hence Aamir has come in, he does not know the facts, so there was a brutal pushback against Aamir at that point in time. And Narendra Modi is one elephant who doesn't forget. So Aamir has tried over a period of time to patch up with Mr. Modi,
so in other words, what you're saying is, if an actor becomes an activist, he pays a price for it?
Of course he does.
Which also brings us to the next point. Cancel culture was something that we read about or heard about more where the West was concerned, where if someone said anything which was anti-gay or anti-gay rights or made some kind of an anti-Semitic comments, then they were cancelled. In our country, the way it is trending, like today, you've got Hrithik trending as boycott Hrithik because he praised Laal Singh Chaddha. Isn't that taking things a bit far?
It is taking it a bit too far, but obviously there are stronger lobbies working in India where this cancel culture is. Who are they? Are they part of the Bhakt Brigade? Are they part of a certain brigade that does not like Muslim actors? Let's be honest about it. So is that a problem? Then also Aamir Khan's comment made that Kiran Rao at one point said that this is a country where she feels unsafe when he was married to her.
But which was 6 to 7 years ago.
Yes, but no one has forgotten that, or people are not being allowed to forget that. So whenever someone like him comes up with a movie, so those things are brought back to attack him. And above all, I still feel that the movie PK, I thought it was quite an insufferable below par film. Maybe it did business well, but Amir got away with that. With Laal Singh Chaddha, he is seriously stuck.
Yes, and even though I will also admit I haven't seen the film, but the trailer left me absolutely cold with that strange expression that he's copied apparently from Tom Hanks. But let's go on to a larger issue. You had Alia Bhatt's Darlings, right? Which was, again, there was something about boycotting it because it promotes male domestic abuse, right? And let's go back in history a bit. Darlings has, by the way, been a big success. The show or film, whatever, has done well, right? Let's rewind a bit to 1966. Guide, Dev Anand's film, was being boycotted. There were protests about the fact that the film promoted infidelity. Film went on to become iconic and a huge, huge hit. Now, at the moment, with Laal Singh Chaddha and with Raksha Bandhan being like huge disasters, do you think it is the cancel culture or the films themselves on their merit could not pull in the crowds?
I feel the films on their own failed to pull in the crowds, and since you mentioned Guide, and there were attacks against Guide because, like you said, that it promoted infidelity. Having watched Guide umpteen number of times, I thought the focus was on talking about how religion is misused and how superstition is brought in, and how a virtual con man like Dev Anand comes in and changes the whole game completely. So it was more that. It wasn't so much on promoting infidelity. Now, talking about the current situation, I don't think the cancel culture or a group is so strong that they can kill a movie. I also believe that somewhere along the line, India has gone in for this new culture of, can a movie be confined to the main cities, which is like the multiplex scene, or is it meant for a pan-Indian scenario, like an Amitabh Bachchan in his heydays? The moment a film landed, so there were queues everywhere, all over the country. People wanted to see those kind of films, and it introduced a kind of mood. I mean, that angry young man, Salim Javed, who brought in their style of narrative. It also brought in the dialogue bazi, which was brilliantly delivered by Mr. Bachchan. Now, again, where these films are concerned, I feel the storyline is weak. It's unable to draw crowds, and I'll give you a classic example of when I was 16 or 17 and a film called Sholay was released, and I saw it on possibly day 2 in Lucknow. Now the thing is, at that point in time, there was this buzz that is this film good enough or not on the first day. So when the second day when I saw the movie, and I was completely gobsmacked and hit by the brilliance of what I saw. And despite that, there was this feeling that, oh, there is too much of violence and will this film pick or not. And later I heard apocryphal stories about the Sippis even thinking about reshooting, where I think Amitabh Bachchan then said that, okay, we agreed, but later on they decided not to. But the point is that to close the comment, the word of mouth was so strong for Sholay that it became what it did.
Yes, but Sholay was not being boycotted. Here we are looking at a completely different scenario, and before we are accused of being liberals and not looking at other scenarios, Ajay Devgan's Tanhaji, right? That was being boycotted or asked to be boycotted before the film was released. Similarly, historical films, you had this film coming out of Ranbir Kapoor where he's apparently wearing shoes, and it's just a trailer of Brahmastra, and people took off as to boycotting the film. Similarly, Saif's Tandav, if you remember, Padmavat, again, all of these boycotts are half the time happening before the film gets released. And I'm coming back to the comment that you made that Amir paid the price for being an actor and activist. The point is, somewhere, of course it does color your your view of the actor, but isn't it more important to take the film on its merit rather than on the actor who's portraying it and his point of view?
See, you made an interesting reference to a couple of films like Tanhaji, Prithviraj, the movie, which again flopped very miserably, and a couple of films in the past, Bhansali. Now the point is that the objection came from a certain small section of society, whether they were Rajputs who were unhappy or they were Marathas who were unhappy. So, beyond a point, it did not matter. When it comes to a remake of Forrest Gump, the pushback is against Amir Khan. It is not against the film.
Right.
That is a very crucial point to remember.
But which is again takes me back to the point that it is, if it is not against the film and if it is against Amir, then you are objecting or protesting to him either being a Muslim, or you're protesting about what he's been saying about just liking India, etc. So again, we've reached that point where we form opinions right before we watch a film. We form opinions based on what we think the actor says or doesn't say. And I'd like to close this because this is a long thing.
I thought we were getting warmed up. Why do you want to close?
See, the thing again is even Andhi, right? Because every time these boycotts come up, someone brings up the fact that Andhi was released during the emergency. And, it's very easy to say that at that point, the regimes were far more liberal. There too, there was a huge clampdown. You also saw a clampdown on Bandit Queen, which was of course for nudity and other reasons. So there have been clampdowns along the way, but those have been establishment or anti-establishment. This is where it's about people or a group of people coming together to deliberately sabotage a film.
So let's talk only about Amir Khan. So Amir Khan is a controversial character in his own right, whether it was the Narmada Bachao Andolan, which annoyed Narendra Modi as the Chief Minister of Gujarat then, and he never forgot that. He tried to patch up, Amir tried to patch up with Mr. Modi. I do not know to what extent that patch up may have happened. Second is his boycotting film awards, because in 1991 when he did Dil, he expected the Filmfare Award and he didn't get it. After that he said these awards are all rigged. Bika hua hai. So those are very strong phrases that he used. He never attended a single award function. And third is he's seen as a guy who likes to break the mold, who's out of the Bombay, Mumbai film industry zone, and he attracts criticism. There is a strong lobby which dislikes him intensely. Also his personal life.
Yet at the same time, you're the one who said right in the beginning that he is one guy who's gone out of his cane. Who, when Lagan came out, it had everything wrong with the film, right? Too long, period films in this country really don't do too well. And it was a massive hit. So the man tries, the man researches. Although I will agree with you, because you had the film's actresses, Mona Singh and Kareena Singh, who people have worked very hard on this film. People work hard on every film. And they've worked hard for 2.5 years. That in no way means that the audience should come in. Would you agree that this entire Twitter trend and the social media trend of boycotting is absolutely unfair to any film?
It is unfair, but it is happening, and it does have a certain domino effect. Now, to which extent can it go? That remains to be mapped, because so far that is just a topic of discussion at various levels. That, there are some people I've seen on Twitter who praised Laal Singh Chaddha during the time of the first show. And later on, some people were saying, oh, I have watched it till interval and it's terrible, and why am I here? I'm paying so much for popcorn. Now, that I think is a very shitty thing to do, because at least watch the whole film and then put your opinion out.
It might be insufferable. Like Pankaj Tripathi has said that, look, it's a democracy. People have a right to say what they want. People do have a right to say what they want. But people at the same time don't have a right to say that because this actor has said this 6 years ago, his film should not be watched.
That's unfair.
That little difference should always be there.
That's unfair. And don't drag his personal life into a professional game, which in Amir's case, it has happened.
Yeah. I mean, whether he's divorced 20 times or he's not, does not in any way reflect on the actor or on the film. Arup, since you track the film industry and he watches one film every day, The impact of these two films, Raksha Bandhan and Laal Singh Chaddha, failing so miserably at the box office, it's going to have a massive impact, isn't it? Because the recent report PricewaterhouseCoopers has given on the media and entertainment industry and the global outlook, they've actually cited the fact that post-pandemic, India is one country where cinema revenues are seeing a resurgence. With these two disasters sitting right before Diwali, this year seems to be ending pretty badly for the Hindi film industry.
Yeah, that's why you watch a Kartik Aaryan movie, Bhul Bhulaiya 2, which kicks everybody's ass. And this is the same Karan Johar who threw him out of Dostana 2, who treated him so shabbily post the Sushant Singh Rajput unfortunate incident. And it was again seen that Kartik Aaryan is being targeted because he's a nobody. Kartik Aaryan has proved to this industry what he's all about. I mean, he's a terrific hit. His movie has made over 200 crores, I believe. And then you look at something like Laal Singh Chaddha, which was made at 180 crores, which might not even cross 55.
So is this a wake-up call?
It is a massive wake-up call, and then you compare it to Bahubali and those kind of movies from the southern part of India, which have made something like 1,000 crores. I mean that franchise, those series. So there is no comparison, and the main part again is that the scale of the filmmaking is like Cecil B. DeMille coming back to life in the southern part of India. Their stars who have then storytelling. See, ultimately the main thing is if you do not have a story, if you do not have a script or a screenplay, you have nothing. Yeah. You can get in the best actors in the country, that the initial draw will be there, but then it all fizzles out, and ironically it is fizzling out very, very rapidly and dangerously.
We're going to end it here. One of the very big things now is called the story economy. The economy, earlier there was the creator economy, now it's the story economy, the economy of very good storytelling. And that's probably where the Hindi film industry in particular seems to be failing.